So the final shape was absolutely immaculate in terms of story, and it nailed just about everything else. The raid was amazing. The story was great, as I mentioned. Loot is fantastic, and the prismatic subclass is, again, just pristine. You would think that episode Echoes would use that to its advantage, or at least Bungie would use that to give Echoes a boost, and that just hasn't been the case. It feels like, and I've mentioned this in previous videos, that there is a break happening right now for these employees, and again, I mentioned that they deserve a break after, again, having such a successful release, but it just, chopping up the story in this fashion is just not fun at all. It's not enticing to anybody, and I think really what wraps up this episode in a nutshell is, if you logged on yesterday or 2 days ago when this video is coming out, whatever, but when you logged on, the new sidearm, the solar sidearm, was available for crafting. This new sidearm, of course, has been highly touted. People have been waiting for it to come out, and a lot of people are saying, like, you know, it's honestly the only good reason to play Echoes, although there are some other guns in there, but this is like the main course, to be completely honest. And you can't focus this sidearm until next week. Now, if you're like me and you're a Gremlin, there's a workaround with this. You can just focus engrams at failsafe, and you can craft it that way, because you will have a chance to get one to drop. And if you have deep sight harmonizers as well, you can use those for the ones you get that are not red bordered when they drop. And to me, it's just so silly that you can work around it, and I have no clue why they were like, yeah, we're gonna make you wait a week before you can focus it, because like there's no reason to do that. There's no like dungeon coming out that like you would want people to not have it, and even then, the quicker people get this in their hands, the more stuff they can go and do with it. Not only that, it's just an obvious way to gatekeep people into coming back next week when they could get it crafted this week and not necessarily worry about rushing back next week to do just that. I'm very happy that Bungie has acknowledged that this is an issue, because we were promised significant change when it came to the seasonal / episodic model. I mean, that was kind of the whole point of it having a completely different name, and there is some differences here and there, like obviously having the 3-tiered battle seasonal pass, whatever you want to call it, episodic pass, not that it matters. And aside from that, like, that really sucks. Like, I wish there was more of a difference. Now, we do know that in at least episode Revenant, which is the one that will follow Echoes, that the story will be dropped in its entirety. At least that seems to be the case. I don't know if that means like we're gonna get half of the story and then maybe like towards the end of the episode, but I'm pretty sure it's the entire story that's getting dropped. So again, that will help the issue that I have with a lot of this. Hopefully that doesn't mean that they're like, oh, we're only dropping half the weapons at launch, and then we're gonna give half the weapons like halfway through the episode. I know that's how it was structured, but obviously the feedback that has been given from the community has just been overwhelmingly negative based on how this episode has shaken out. So it's nice to see Bungie responding to that, and I don't want to lessen that because it's important to have that level of communication. However, it's just astonishing to me how poorly designed all of this is, because you want to mix good story with fun gameplay and good loot. And the thing is, everything is there for Bungie to do that. Like the storyline with Saint and Osiris is pretty compelling. It's just so hard to keep together if you're not super into the story or in tune with what's going on. Also, it's spread out against or over a large time period that makes it harder. The Battlegrounds are fun. I have always been such a huge fan of Battlegrounds. because they're ad dense, and for the most part they have pretty cool areas that you can go in. Mostly it's the ad density though. I like killing large clumps of enemies because that's just one of the many great things about Destiny, is using your awesome abilities to just destroy things in quick succession. However, again, the loot isn't there because we have 2 new guns, right? But you can't craft them. And the whole point of being able to unlock red borders is to craft these weapons. And it's so frustrating to, again, get drip-fed weapons while we're also getting drip-fed story. And listen, I get they have to have a reason for people to come back, but it's so draining that this is still the way we're being told stories. And again, this would be completely different if change was not promised. If there was, the hope of some sort of different storytelling archetype. But again, that just has not been the case. It's the same thing as a seasonal model. It's we get 1 week where we do a few quest steps. We unlock some stuff for the helm, and then you wait another week. As opposed to, Tuesday, you do you do what I just mentioned, and then maybe like Thursday or Friday, a few more steps unlock, and maybe on Friday they're like, oh yeah, now you can focus a Baron action if you didn't have the engrams necessary to just spam them at failsafe. So, the criticisms there, people have been like, hey, this just isn't fun for a lot of people, and hopefully Bungie is listening, because at least if they have it where they will in Revenant, where you can just, again, play through the entire story, at least you'll have this big launch day where everyone's on and everyone's playing, and you'll get big numbers from that. Sure, a lot of people are going to play it and then step away for a while, or come back to do like GMs or whatever, but aside from that, most people are going to put it down. But then there's the diehard community that will probably stick around. There'll be a new dungeon in Revenant, so people will be farming that. So even though it is worth mentioning that some people will no-life the story, it's also true that there's a little bit more content coming in Revenant. So at least, again, there will be stuff for people to come back to do and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't want to dog too much on episode echoes. This format has just not worked for Destiny for the longest time, and echoes has just seemed to intensify the hate for that. I think it's good that the raid is actually enjoyable to do, because most people would not be playing right now if the raid wasn't out. The Master Challenge and stuff is also there. GMs are out, even though, most of the guns, at least I have most of the guns. I don't feel a lot of motivation to do GMs this season, aside from Guild and Conqueror. I got my God Roll Shadow Praise. I got a good, I got a good Scintillation. And I already have an okay Slammer. I might try to get a better one. Here's what it is. Anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and I'll see you next time.